Hey, what are you doing over there?
Moving my grape tomatoes to the front. They're starting to grow up so high they're touching the plastic, so I had to put the peppers in the back and put the tomatoes in the front. I still got a lot of tomatoes to plant this weekend, but it's going to be Memorial Weekend and I still got to do the buckets for all of these plants that are going in the front. I had to level the front.
Now, one of our fine followers asked why we were putting things in buckets and not in the ground.
There's a lot of positive things about the bucket system. The bucket system, one positive about the bucket system, you could plant 2 weeks earlier. Then this is upstate New York, and they suggest you don't plant before.
There's a fly in here. Ooh.
Got him. They suggest you plant Memorial Weekend. With the bucket system, you can plant 2 weeks earlier. So I plant Mother's Day weekend, which is 2 weeks before Memorial Weekend. And as you can see with the greenhouse things, you get a good start. Now these grape tomatoes have already got blossoms started. Now we'll be getting nice little yellow blossoms while everybody else has got tomatoes about this high. We'll start getting some. Well, let me walk you out to the bucket system and I can give you some better idea of what we're talking about.
I still have plantings to do too.
Oops. I had to put the bucket system on hold because of the hatching of the quail, and had to move the quail to the brooders. Well, let me take you back here to where the step roof is. Let me take you back here to the...
It's a windy, blustery day.
These tomatoes...
There's a brick.
This tomato's been in for 2 weeks. This was...
Is that a bug?
Where?
On that leaf.
Right there?
Right over here, where I'm shining the camera.
Right here? No, it's a spot.
Oh,
just a dirt spot.
Just making sure.
Well, look how large these stems are. I've got to start picking suckers here pretty soon.
And remember, it's not even Memorial Day, and we are in New York.
This tomato is probably 18 to 20 inches tall. And see the blossoms starting on it already? We may have tomatoes pretty early this year.
And I love those tomatoes, mayonnaise, and onion sandwiches that we like to eat all day long.
But we've got... the advantage of the bucket system is the weeding. You can go to each individual bucket.
And you're not on your knees.
I'm standing up and I'm weeding. Once you weed these out, normally you don't have the problem with the weeds anymore. Get rid of all these...
And we use our composter.
Kids always call these helicopters when they're little. They're the
it's a windy day.
Seeds from the maple tree. But as you can see...
Yeah, it looks like it's snowing over there. They're blowing so many today.
As you can see, I'm almost done weeding this bucket already. And once I'm done weeding, I can take weed guard and go right over the bucket and just cut a slot and go right around the plant and have this all covered with weed guard, and you don't have to weed the rest of the summer. You can put your fertilizer in. Another great thing about the bucket system, here, let me go lift this bucket and you can see. You have a trough full of water. You're not going around watering each and every plant. Another great thing about the bucket system is when you put the fertilizer in here, around the outer edge, and it slowly feeds the plant. What does get washed down through the dirt ends up in the trough. So the rest of the plants that didn't get as much fertilizer as you give the other ones, they can take what fertilizer they want with the roots of the plants. You can grow 2 or 3 plants in each bucket. I've got 2 in this one, but I probably could have put 3 bok choy in each bucket. I've got 1 tomato in each one. To keep the bugs down off the tomatoes, you can plant marigolds around the bottom of the tomatoes. Give you a little color, helps protect the plant, keeps the bugs off in your plants. There's so many benefits of the bucket system. In the fall, you take and throw a blue tarpaulin down, or any kind of, you could do it right in your compost box, or any other thing you use to compost. You dump the buckets, you pull your plant out of it, dump your bucket in there, let it set until spring. Reuse the dirt, add more peat moss to it, and you've got soil. There's no rototilling, which is, as you get up in years, you really don't need to kill your back rototilling. There's no bending for weeding.
This is great for older people and women. Us women, you know.
Well, a guy like me, I work lots of hours climbing up and down off of, I drive a forklift, tow motor, whatever you want to call them. And I drive them all day. You're up and down off the tow motor. Your legs and your back hurt by the end of the day. The last thing you want to do is crawl around on the ground weeding gardens. I walk up to this if I feel like, all right, I've got, say, 36 buckets here. If I feel like tonight I only want to do 1 row of buckets, which is 8 to 9 buckets, depending on how many buckets you put in, what size bucket you use. A smaller bucket, you probably get 11 or 12 on there. But depending on the system, if I don't want to have to weed the whole garden all to today, I can take Monday, do this row, Tuesday, do that row, Wednesday, do that row, Thursday, do that row, and by Friday, you're weed free.
Or if you have a big family, assign a kid to each row.
Yes. The tarp is down on the ground so that when these do start producing tomatoes,
I wanted to give them a view of the height next to you.
Yeah, it's waist high. Another great benefit of the bucket system. Do you think a rabbit can eat these off from the ground? Rabbit stands up, his ears are about here. You don't have cats
Doing their
crapping. I'm telling you, cats crapping in your soil. Have you ever been in the garden weeding and you found a little
Tootsie Roll.
present? You found a present the cat left you, and it's too late. You've already touched it with your hands. You don't have that problem here.
Your chickens can't get into it either. If you have, if you let them free range.
If they were free range, they could get in there, but they wouldn't bother them quite so quick. The only thing you have to worry about is if you got a real strong wind, every now and then it might knock a bucket over.
But
we had it happen once last year, and it only knocked 2 buckets over. And that was on the front porch. It was no big deal. You picked the bucket back up, put it on the trough, no damage. I'm trying to think if there's, with the system.
Your plants get bigger, I think.
I think that they're
controlled
better. You don't have to worry about.
Because you can plant earlier and they're not on the ground, so they get bigger in the season.
You can control what type of soil you're using. You're not using the same old. If you got sandy loam or gravel or really rocky soil. There's no pick. I haven't picked a rock all season. Go and rototiller garden. How many times do you have to pick rocks? Another benefit. This year, I've got a float valve for filling my water troughs.
Plus your yard stays nice.
All I've got to do is...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
I
interrupt.
have to hook my hoses up. But that's only one day. My water tank is starting to fill up.
Say that again, because I said...
What's that?
Because I said, plus your yard stays nice looking because you don't have the...
Yeah, your garden's in one spot. I can go right around with a push mower and go right around my garden and not worry about the mower throwing grass clippings and stones or anything else against my plants.
Well, tell us about this float valve.
This float valve, I just have to hook my hoses up from one to the other and hook to that big water tank, and I won't have to water this system all summer long. I can sit back, you could join the kids in the pool, you can go golfing, you can do whatever you like to do. With this system, you work maybe 2 weeks to get your garden set up, and you're set. I think I started at Mother's Day weekend Friday, and I was done with this system by Mother's Day and had the plants all in. I wanted to get the one in the front done, but we had a lot of other things going on. I had chicks hatching, I had brooders to repair, and we've shown those videos. I had to get the browns out in their summer home. There's a lot going on, but I just wanted to let you know about the benefits of the bucket system. Now, I have made the mistake, and I've been questioned on it. I keep saying peat humus. A lot of people are going, peat humus? Back in the olden days, before hummus was ground up chickpeas and made into a dip, the old farmers used to call peat moss peat hummus. And then they stopped doing it because of the hummus, the eating hummus, and they just call it peat moss. So if I make a slip by saying peat hummus, it's only because that's what my father and grandfather and them all called it. Get some peat hummus to throw into the soil when they were rototilling and whatnot. So if you hear the word hummus, don't think I'm talking about garbanzo bean, ground up garbanzo bean dip. I'm not. Hummus used to be what they called peat moss years ago. Now it's peat moss. So if I make a slip and say hummus, it's a habit from growing up with some of the old timers. So if you hear the word hummus, no, I'm talking about peat moss. And I'll try to correct myself. We do our videos live. We don't edit. So if we did, I would have edited out the word hummus in the first place. But excuse me, it's peat moss. So I use four shovels of peat moss to 4 shovels of my compost, and I fill my buckets with that mixture. I throw a little Epsom salt, a handful of Epsom salts in there, and you can, whatever you like to do, and it makes wonderful soil. And as the nights go on, I just walk around and pull a weed once in a while. I'll take one day and just go through all the buckets for weed control. But sometimes you gotta let the weeds grow up, and then when you pull them out, you're pulling all the root systems with them. If you wait till they're little tiny things, you might leave some roots behind. So let them get up an inch or two before you pull your weeds. It's not gonna hurt your tomato plants or any of the other plants. They're already towered over them. So hopefully that answered a few of your questions. We had a few multiple questions on that. Somebody was wondering about the hummus, and some of them were wondering about the benefits of the buckets. And hopefully I've explained the benefits enough where you can understand and enjoy, even if you only do 1 trough. By all means, try it. It won't hurt, and you don't have to worry about rabbits or any other animals tearing up your garden. So this is Clay from Pople's Backyard Farm, and if you have any more questions, please ask. And know that we do make mistakes. We do all of our videos live, and we hope that everybody enjoys what we do. We do it for you. We don't do it for money. We don't do it for anything, only to help our friends out there in YouTube land. Okay, this is Clay from Pople's Backyard Farm. Bye-bye, and God bless.